watching Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods.
From Richmond, Virginia, welcome to the 2012 Colonial Athletic Association Championship. 6 days from Selection Sunday, you might think 19 straight wins would get you in. You might think 27 wins would get you in. But tonight, it could be winner take all as Drexel faces VCU. Moments ago, VCU head coach Shaka Smart addressing his team.
All year long, you guys have worked harder than any team I've ever been associated with. And all year long, because of that, we've gotten better and better and better. And now, here we are, in this moment. We're minutes away from the opportunity to accomplish our mission. And Drexel is standing in our way. We get a great opportunity right now to go out there, play aggressive, confident, and loose. And most importantly, let's take them out, guys. Let's take them out. Here we go.
Welcome to Championship Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. A sellout crowd of 11,200 at the Richmond Coliseum awaits the Colonial Athletic Association Final. Drexel versus Virginia Commonwealth. In the semifinals last night, Drexel beats last year's champ Old Dominion to make it 19 straight wins. VCU a 22-0 start against George Mason, hanging on to win by 10 to set up 1 versus 2 in the Colonial Final tonight. I'm Carter Blackburn with Dan Dockich, and the next time Sunday rolls around, it will officially be Selection Sunday. Now, we know this, the winner of tonight's game, they're going to the NCAA tournament. What we don't know is the team who doesn't win tonight, are they in? The eye test that's supposed to be part of this selection process is in full view tonight.
It is to me. I mean, this is not a math equation getting into the NCAA. Yeah, there's formulas, but watching these two teams, studying on tape, seeing them in person, these are NCAA tournament teams, and this will be as good a game as there is in the entire week of Championship Week. And a terrific environment as well. Now, the reason both of these teams are here because of their defense. In our one-on-one, we see they go about it very different ways. Yeah, contrasting styles. VCU is going to pick up full court. They call it havoc. They're first in the country in steals. They get you sped up. Now, Drexel, no, they contain and contest. They're 5th in the country in defensive field goal percentage. They're going to stay in front of you, play more of a half-court containment defense, contrasting styles, but both are incredibly effective. Take a look at tonight's starting lineup. Virginia Commonwealth, 27-6 on the year. Only one senior, only one returning starter. That's Bradford Burgess off of last year's Final Four team. Theus, Daniels, Reddick, and Haley joining Burgess in the starting lineup for the Rams. The Drexel Dragons, 19 straight. Only Kentucky has a longer winning streak. Only one senior on their roster. That's Sammy Gibbons. Franz Massenet charged with handling that VCU pressure tonight. Chris Fouch, Damian Lee, Daryl McCoy joining Gibbons in the starting lineup. Bruiser Flynn is the Colonial Athletic Association Coach of the Year, 11th season coaching Drexel from Philadelphia. He's a Philadelphia native. And it's a challenge playing Shaka Smart here in Virginia Commonwealth. This is officially not VCU's home building, but it is their home city. And this is a road game for Drexel against the havoc defense of VCU and the Ram fans. The only fans you're going to see from Drexel are underneath this basket right here. That's about 200. The other 11,000 firmly in VCU's corner. So how then does Drexel come into this building against the havoc defense, against roughly 11,000 VCU fans, and win this game tonight, Dan? What they do, they force VCU to play their style, their tempo. VCU is going to make a run, and you have to shorten those runs. Their run came early in the semifinal with a 22-0 start. Their run when I did their game against Northern Iowa came late. Here's Theus with his steal and the run out, and VCU gets it started. The most important thing against VCU is to hang on to the ball for a 2 count and pass fake your way out of situations. These teams met January 8 in Philadelphia. VCU only got 3 steals in that game, only 11 turnovers.
by Drexel in that win for the Dragons on January 8th.
And that's what they did. Talking to Bruiser Flint, they threw the ball behind against the press, took their time, held on to it for a two-cut. You see the ball being held right here. It enables your teammate to get open. You don't just pass it quickly.
Back cut and a foul called on the back cut from Fouch.
So you're going to see on the reversal here, going to be a ball screen. That's a back cut, right? No, you missed it. But there was a back cut, a trip, and a foul.
And that foul is on Burgess, leading scorer for VCU. Massanet finishes. Franz Massanet, sophomore from Ewing, New Jersey, who's been terrific for Drexel this year. Theus travels with it. So Massanet hounds Theus into a turnover. So 93 feet away from the basket as soon as Massanet gets it on the inbounds. There's Theus to greet him.
And that's going to be all game. That will not stop. In fact, as the game goes on, one of the fun things about VCU is they get playing harder. They get stronger as the game goes on. They play 10 guys in a 22-0 run the other night.
Lee gets a very friendly roll. Damian Lee, the Colonial Rookie of the Year, makes it 5-2 Drexel, 5 straight. Run out screen for Theus. It's on to Reddick. Sophomore misses the jumper. Drexel on the run. McCoy may have walked. Is it oversimplifying? Well, here's another turnover. Second steal, and Burgess will take it himself. Bradford Burgess, the outstanding senior.
You just cannot expose the ball. And on a handoff, you expose it, they take it. Watch their hands when you watch VCR. Watch their VCU. Watch their hands get involved with the basketball every single time it's passed or every single time it's held.
Probably not many people watching VCU on the VCR anymore.
No.
It's not part of the Watch ESPN app. Six to shoot. Fouch, long two. Theus pushes VCU. Deep three! And an opportunity for a four-point play. Troy Daniels knocks down the long three and takes the foul.
You saw in the intro the word loose from Shaka Smart. This is loose. Look how deep this is. That is when a team is playing loose. You shoot from this far out. I mean, that is deep. And to not only shoot it that deep and make it, but shoot it that deep, get hit and make it. Pretty good by Daniel.
That's a heck of a way for Theus to get an assist.
So, that's loose. And that's what you're going to see out of VCU. They are, of all the games I've done this year, of all the teams I've watched this year, they are the most spirited, they are the most energized, and they are the loosest team that I have seen, and I'm not sure anybody's second.
6 straight by VCU. Are you surprised with losing 4 starters, only 1 senior on the roster? They're back in this position at 27 wins, chance to go back in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and that's what I cannot stand about this whole math formula on picking NCAA teams. Look, they didn't know who their point guard was earlier. They lost a couple games, sure, that they shouldn't have, but they figured it out, and now they're really good.
Drexel's got a good point guard. Massanet with 1 second on the shot clock gets to the rim. Reach-in foul called on Gibbons. Drexel goes on a 5-0 run. VCU answers with 6 straight. Rams by 1. No, Franz Massanet said if he gets to cut down the nets tonight for Drexel, he's going to cry. And he's doing his best to get to the rim to make that happen.
Here's how you beat VCU's pressure. You drive it. You hang on to the ball, you beat the trap, and then you drive it. Now watch right here. Massanet gets a high ball screen, and then he just takes it through the defense. This is the one weakness of VCU. In half-court offense, you can drive them. In talking to Bruiser Flint, he wanted to make sure his team took no quick shots. Now, in talking to Shaka Smart, he said we have to play through the possession because what you saw right there is what Drexel wants to do, end of clock.
Reddick scores off the inbounds. So is it an oversimplification to say if it's a half-court game favors Drexel, full-court game favors VCU?
It is a bit of an oversimplification because right there, that's what Drexel will do coming down 3-on-2, 4-on-3, that type of thing. They will play it in full court if they have numbers.
The 1-seed regular season champ Drexel against the 2-seed VCU.
We've got two different calls here. One referee has Brandenburg for a charge. The other referee has a block on Drexel.
So Tim Nestor, Les Jones, and Roger Ayers confer and now head to the scores table.
I say this every broadcast. It would not be a college basketball game if we didn't get that shot right there of officials' backsides.
And in the end, it's going to be Drexel basketball.
See, I think in slow motion, that looked like more of a charge than it may have looked in fast motion. You cannot come up into a guy, and I think referees are having a bit of a hard time this year with the arc under the basket. They're looking at the feet and forgetting about the movement of a defender into an offensive player.
In the end, you have the what some people think is a bailout, the double foul. Brandenburg and Ruffin both get fouls on that play. This is Ruffin, and a foul called on Reddick defending Ruffin. So here are the main two rules of what Shaka Smart calls his havoc defense.
Yeah. Stay between your men and the basket. That's like from 4th grade. Now, pressure the ball as much as possible without violating Rule 1. That's the key, because he's going to recruit to extreme pressure. Brandenburg can really get after people. Theus can really get after people. He recruits to that. So it's not like he has guys that are going to back off to maintain with Rule 1. He recruits to Rule 2 to play Rule 1, if that makes any sense.
That was Rule 1 and Rule 2. We went through all 8 today, so we've condensed it for you. But you always hear you play defense with your feet, but he's not afraid to say you play defense with your hands, active hands,
no question.
Hand checking with one hand. You can't do it with two.
When you press, you basically foul every possession. Now, it's going to be up to the referees to decide whether or not they're going to call a foul every possession, and most get tired of it, quite frankly. They just won't do it.
This is Briante Weber, the freshman from Chesapeake, Virginia. Bumped, no whistle, play on. Drexel brings it back. Massonet, the sophomore from New Jersey, hounded by Briante Weber, the stellar defensive intimidator for VCU, one of them. Lee picks up his dribble. Off Drexel, Ram basketball.
That was great defense, not good defense. That was great defense by Graham. I mean, he got on top of the post, denied it. If you're going to do a clinic on post defense, Trayvon Graham just gave you one right there. He was sensational playing defense.
3 early turnovers for Drexel in the first 6 minutes. Had only 11 the entire game in January in Philly. Ruffin clears the rebound. Massonet runs the Dragons. Lee for 3. Weber brings it back. Brandenburg stripped. Recovers. Brandenburg. Drexel gets it back on a hard-fought possession.
This game is played in a frenzy. These two teams, they know each other. They're competitive against each other because they know they're the best in the league. One's 16-2, the other's 15-3. They know what's at stake, and they, truthfully, both play in a frenzy anyway. Both play exceptional. That's why I think they're both NCAA tournament teams. And if anybody out there is watching this game as a coach, you know you don't want to play these two teams because they are tough, they are fast, and they are athletic and relentless.
Then you have watched a lot of the teams that are bubble or right on the edge of the NCAA tournament considered for at-large.
These two teams are better. And I've said it over and over again. You take Northwestern, Minnesota League that I do mostly, the Big Ten, and these two teams are better than both of those teams. Now, it would help my credibility if they wouldn't throw an entry pass to the cheerleaders, but these two teams are really good.
Now, numbers-wise, when you crunch it out, VCU has a much better chance of being an at-large team if they don't win tonight. So Drexel doesn't want to be like they were in 2007 when they were 23-9 with a win Syracuse, Ed Creighton, a long list, and then left out of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, both of their resumes, when you throw into a computer, don't come out very well. Both have schedule strengths in the 200. Both have bad losses. The bottom half of the league, not so good. But when you look at the fact that one's won 19 in a row, the other 25 on a 26 on the road in a league, that is not easy.
Last time Drexel lost, the Rose Bowl game was being played, January 2nd.
And that's the last miserable night that Boozer Flint had. And coaches out there know what I'm talking about. The night then you wake up in the morning knowing you've lost is the worst thing about coaching.
Especially when you have to get back on the bus. Brandenburg ripped away by Fouch for Drexel. But Drexel has as many steals as VCU does in the early going. Foul called on Graham there, getting caught up in the screen between Massanet and Gibbons. Last year, 3 teams from the Colonial made it to the NCAA tournament.
Well, last year, the Colonial had over 20 wins against the top 50. This year, they have 5. So certainly it's a different league. And just that stat alone will tell you this may end up being a one bid league. But watching these teams and comparing them to other teams on the bubble is where I'm at with it. And somebody with a computer program can certainly attack me and tell me I'm wrong, and I get it, but I don't think I am.
Burgess, deep 3. Ruffin clears it. Drexel a chance to regain the lead.
That's the one thing you notice about Drexel. Yeah, they play contain and contest, all that kind of stuff. But even in their containment, they force offenses out beyond the NBA three-point line. Just because they don't contain doesn't mean that they let the ball get in position for the opponent to score.
VCU gets another turnover, taking it away from Gibbons. 5 takeaways by VCU. Theus behind a good screen from Haley. Darius Theus gets to the rim. VCU by 3. Hand off to Fouch. Sammy Gibbons at the top. Offensive foul after the handoff from Gibbons. A foul called on Sammy Gibbons.
This doesn't happen very often. Rarely do you get to the rim. Now watch the Drexel guys kind of run into each other. You see 3 Drexel guys, and you see a great, not a good, a great clear out by Hayden.
The on-the-grind tour continues for Jay Williams. Well, those who are the 4 teams who are into the NCAA tournament. Winner tonight in the Colonial will join that group. The question is, does the team who doesn't win tonight join the NCAA tournament group?
Creighton or Illinois State had a lot of people sweating. Timmy Jankovic doing a great job at Illinois State, took Creighton to overtime. Tennessee State had a lot of people sweating too. Murray State had a win on the last couple 3 or 4 second.
So what is championship week like when you're a head coach of a team that is on the bubble and you're watching all these conference tournaments, hoping those spots don't get taken?
I've been on the bubble twice, and one afternoon I was getting ready for a championship game in 2002 against Kent. Kent ended up in the Final 8. They beat us championship game. And I'm watching Wyoming against like BYU, and I needed Wyoming to lose. They started winning. I just went to bed. And then Iowa beats Indiana later, and it's like, okay, this isn't working out well for us. 2 bids are gone, and you don't make the tournament. You end up in the NIT. It's awful. It's fun because you're involved and you have a championship game, but it's awful to watch when bids slip away.
Carter Blackburn with Dan Dockich from the Richmond Coliseum. Marty Aronoff on statistics tonight, working his 27th Colonial Athletic Association championship game.
And on a side note, there's Marty right there. He was with our guy, Mike Tirico, last night in Boston for Linsanity against the Celtics. Still looking for Jay Williams. He's supposed to be on my radio show today, and he's stiffened.
Ooh, you can take that up at the half.
I may have to rip him.
Travel delays, I'm sure. Theus resets for VCU. Darius Theus gives it up to Bradford Burgess, the lone senior on the VCU roster from Midlothian, the west side of the Richmond area. 7 to shoot. Daniels lost the handle. Fouch pushes Drexel. Swatted at the rim by Brandenburg. As Givens goes limping down the floor for Drexel.
Let's watch Brandenburg here. Gives space, gives room, uses athletic ability, and goes and gets the block. Most guys would foul there, but they are so used to playing, VCU is, at a fast pace and staying with the possession that they don't foul where others would. You know, I think at some point Drexel, right here with Givens, has to do this right here. Let him play out of the mid-post. Let him create either for himself or for others.
So Drexel's missed its last 7 now. 6.5 without a field goal for the Dragons. Theus, sweet move, attacking the rim. VCU has its largest lead at 5. Sammy Givens takes it again. Fouch off the handoff, misses. Stick back is blocked. Haley blocks Givens. VCU by 7. Timeout Drexel.
The layup.
A 6-0 Ram run has made it VCU by 7.
You have to find a matchup when you play Drexel. Burgess against Givens wasn't it. Theus against Massonet is. This is the second time he's been able to get to the rim. That's one way Theus scores. Theus then got a bucket after a block, and he was so fast getting it end to end. Like the block came, and there was no setting it up. It was just let's go. But the Theus against Massonet matchup much better for VCU than when they tried Burgess against Givens.
Foul called on Weber defending Massonet. And Theus had not played well in this tournament so far until tonight. 4 for 4, 8 points, 2 assists, 2 steals for the junior point guard for VCU. VCU's won 22 of its last 25. Drexel's won 19 straight. Only Kentucky longer streak. Fouch back cut. Finally Drexel back on the board.
And Theus violated one of the rules of havoc. He was on top of his man. He did not stay between his man and the basket, which is rule number 1 of Shaka Smart's defense.
First field goal in almost 8 minutes for Drexel. Reddick airballs the jumper. There's Sammy Givens for the rebound. The lone Drexel senior.
Yeah, that's what VCU has to not do. They can't take forced shots early in the shot clock from guys that are not comfortable making shots.
Massonet on the dribble drive.
You know, you got to get on Massonet's left hand. I mean, I know he's got something going to his right hand, but just watching here first 12 minutes, much more comfortable going left and scoring. He'll come back to it going right. You got to make him go right.
Theus kick out. Graham 3 goes down. Big answer for the Rams. Travion Graham.
Travion Graham is just a kid that comes into the game looking to score. Terrific at getting fouled. Very capable shooter.
Turnover by Drexel. Theus then slips in midcourt. Graham gives it back to Weber. Well, Dan, you talked about managing the VCU runs like this. Wow. Lee says manage this.
Wow. What a play by the freshman. The charge was there. He jumped a little bit sideways, but then extended. Not a lot of kids can make that play.
Graham gets fouled, and Mr. McCoy has a wardrobe malfunction, shall we say. Cover your eyes, kids.
Turn left.
Now the Havoc D that leads the nation in steals for VCU. 5 steals already for the Rams tonight, but not perfect defense.
Well, the rule number 1 in Havoc defense is stay between your man and the basket. Let's watch Darius Theus here violate that rule. Here he is right here in terrible position to begin with. I don't know how he got in that position, but watch, he should be right here. That's between your man and the basket. He's not. And when you're not in a proper position defensively against a good team, you're going to get beat. When you're VCU and you're extended defensively, when you get beat, you're going to get beat for a layup.
That's one of the things that Bruiser Flint told us was they thought they could get it, as you pointed out, Dan, off the dribble drive in the half court.
Yeah, you can get against VCU in half court. You can drive the basketball. And if you stay spread, you can many times back cut, because what happens, yes, it's rule number 1, stay between your man and the basket. But VCU plays so hard, wants to get so many steals, sometimes they jump the passing lanes a little quickly.
Travion Graham makes it a 6-point VCU lead. Rams have led by as many as 8 in the early going. Not as much as last night against George Mason when they opened up on a 22-0 run. And then George Mason got into within 6 in the second half.
That 22-0 run, this place was sheer madness. It was just crazy. The cameras were shaking. The place was, it was great. It wasn't great for George Mason, but it was great to watch.
It was great when they got it to 6 and their fans got something to cheer about. Massenet on the wing. Gibbons wants it on the post, instead out to Lee. 9 to shoot. Lee pops out. Brandenburg blocks the 3. 3 to shoot. Fouch.
That play, the block was great, but it was all set up by number 21 Graham's defense in the post against Sammy Gibbons. Next time down the floor, try not to watch the ball. Watch that matchup. Wherever number 43 is Gibbons, watch his, 45, excuse me, watch his matchup.
Theus misses the 3 behind the screen. Ruffin rebounds. Massenet brings it back. Massenet off the screen, blocked from behind by Javonte Reddick. Rams on the run. Burgess carried it in his hip pocket for a second there. Championship week continues tomorrow, noon Eastern on ESPN 2. A lot of names and numbers there, but bottom line, Big East Men's Championship presented by American Eagle Outfitters begins with what's really a must-win or can't-lose game for Connecticut against DePaul.
Yeah, it wouldn't kill Seton Hall to get a win as well. But look at that quarterfinal. Look at the job Mick Cronin did at Cincinnati. And not only the brawl, but losing to Presbyterian early, team not very good. But the job of Mike Bray without Abramitis, taking that team to a quarterfinal double bye in the Big East.
Now, Dan, what if UConn doesn't get in, Virginia Commonwealth doesn't win this game and doesn't get in? We know Butler's not getting in. That could be 3 of last year's Final Four teams. I think Kentucky's going to make it.
Yeah, I think they're in good shape.
Theus dumps it off to Brandenburg, and a blocking foul on the open floor. Brandenburg's got 2 free throws coming.
I don't know how it looks on television, but here live, the word swarming for VCU defensively doesn't quite do it justice. Like Damian Lee thought he had an opening, and we were on a perfect line with him, and he did. But all of a sudden, bam, the VCU player was there so quick. Again, I go back to what we said earlier. Drexel needs to hold the basketball for a 2 count, let something break open, and make 100% passes. You don't need to make maybe passes. Well, maybe, you know, coach, I thought. You don't need that. You need 100% passes after holding the basketball and letting the floor spread.
VCU 4 blocks, 6 steals. 3 of those steals from Darius Theus, giving him 63 on the year. And again, VCU leads the nation, averaging nearly 11 steals a game. 9-point edge, largest of the game for the Rams. Fouch picks up his dribble. Lee there to help him out. Haley blocks it. Off of Theus, Drexel keeps it.
Damian Lee really frustrated. Every time he turns somewhere, every time he passes and somebody's there. And he thought he had a layup, and all of a sudden, bam, there's help. Haley right there in front of him. And Damian Lee just kind of shook his head like, what do I have to do here?
Another big factor for Drexel is without Derek Thomas, who's suspended for the Dragons, they're essentially playing 6, maybe 7 guys for the 3rd night in a row.
Yeah, and Thomas, only 8 points a game, but a steadying influence, big, strong, type player.
Rams run again. Brandenburg. Theus gets blocked on the putback. Massanet hounded into another turnover by Theus.
Most teams, after a missed layup in transition, would run back down the floor. Not VCU. VCU right here, you see Theus, he was involved in the transition. He just turned right back around and picked up full court. I'm telling you, Shaka Smart plays a system that is not only effective, we've seen that, but fun for kids to play. Really fun for kids to play. He rotates guys in and out. Nobody complains. Everybody knows they're going to get back in, and everybody knows in my time, I've got to play hard. I've got to pick up, and I don't react to anything. I just keep playing.
Now, Shaka also likes to get out there and run point a little bit himself, but Bradford Burgess threw him under the bus a little bit last night. He told me that the handles not what they used to be for his coach.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be offensive either, but he's got no shot against these guys. No shot.
Shaka Smart went to Kenyon College. That's Rutherford B. Hayes' alma mater.
Also, my friend Todd Stoner's alma mater. And the greatest, one of the greatest, I don't have the exact numbers, like 25 years in a row, they've won the NCAA Division III Women's Swimming Championship.
That is deep knowledge from Dan Dockich. Folks, you're not going to hear that anywhere else in championship week.
Don't look it up. Just assume that I'm right.
Jonathan Winters went there as well.
Paul Newman went there as well.
So this is Bradford Burgess at the line, the leading scorer, the only senior on the VCU roster. I asked him last night, what's the biggest reason why a Final Four team who loses 4 starters can come back and win 27 games? He said focus. Everyone in the program was focused all season long, even the freshmen, even the new guys coming in.
Well, to stay focused, you need a coach. Obviously, they have one, but you also need great leadership. And just being around this team a few times that I have, Burgess is a terrific leader. He's a tough guy that commands respect. Very good player. His numbers command respect. Just a guy that you want to follow. Bad play here by Weber. Weber let Massanet go to his left, and you just can't do that.
$16 fouls now on VCU, so 1 more, and Drexel's in the bonus. That one.
Look how fast, after the steal, look how fast this is down the floor.
Blocking foul underneath. That's 94 feet in a hurry.
Bruiser Flint is absolutely hostile with Sammy Gibbons because the pass came into Gibbons, and when a pass comes in you in the post, the last 3 feet are yours. You go get them. Gibbons kind of waited. When you wait against VCU, it's a steal and a layup.
Carl, here in Richmond, it is VCU by 11. Now, Drexel did a great job of handling the pressure in the regular season win, but VCU's turning it up tonight.
Comes from all different areas. Right there, a little extended arm in the passing lane. Here you get your hand on a ball, off of a handoff, and they're so used to playing fast that they just come to the ball. They're just, it's like the ball is there, they hunt for it. See, 3 guys right there coming to the basketball. It's like sharks in blood. I mean, they just come to it. Again, they practice this way. They practice fast. They do everything in their warm-ups fast. They do everything in their shoot-around fast. They're just used to it, and others aren't.
January 8, when these teams got together in Philly, VCU had only 3 steals Drexel had only 11 turnovers. Already tonight, 7 steals, 10 turnovers.
And you could just see that VCU is one of those teams that when they know they have you a little bit, they know they've got you. And I think they have Drexel right here. They just turn it up a notch. They get more aggressive.
Now, remember what we mentioned about last night, 22-0 start for VCU on George Mason, and then George Mason came back and got it to within 6 in the second half. So Drexel down by 13, but Rams can go in a lull. Tomorrow night, championship week continues. 2 more championship games. 7 Eastern Women's Big East Championship presented by American Eagle Outfitters. The semis are tonight. The 9 Eastern Horizon League Championship, Detroit versus Valpo. Championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yeah, I just want people to know I talked to Skylar Diggins, who was the star last year of the NCAA tournament, and she confirmed to me that she is not married to Lil Wayne. Remember last year Lil Wayne wanted to marry her during the NCAA tournament? But what a wonderful basketball player. Probably the best two-way basketball player in the country in women's hoops, Skylar Diggins. And even nicer person. Just so much fun to talk to.
Semis tonight, the Big East Women's Tournament. Championship tomorrow. Carter Blackburn, Dan Dockage from a sold-out Richmond Coliseum.
People thought they were turning into a basketball game. We've given them Division III women's swimming. We've given them a little E-entertainment news.
Softball coming up, too. I know you're spot on your Big East softball as well, Dan. Massonet slips. Brandenburg will reset. Ten to shoot. Brandenburg goes right at Massonet. Hits a tough jumper.
When Mark Jackson was commentating the NBA, he used to say, good defense, better offense. That's all that was right there by Brandenburg.
Lee turns it over again. 11 turnovers now for Drexel in the first half. They turned it over 11 times when they beat VCU in the regular season.
The Drexel is just going to have to slow down and do what the coach had set up. What Bruce and Flynn had set in the walkthrough was take the ball down the side, 1-2 dribbles, and reverse it backwards. And then look down the opposite side or into the middle. That's easy in a walkthrough, but you get playing against VCU, who's a fast team. They get you going down the sideline, you kind of forget. You're just hoping to survive, and that's caused 3 turnovers in the first half just off that action alone.
Burgess leaves it short on the 3. Gibbons right in his face. Lee behind the screen from Ruffin, off the shot fake. Gibbons comes out to get it. Ten to shoot. Massonet gets a screen from Ruffin. 4 to shoot. Massonet hounded, has to heave it. Guarded by Troy Daniels.
It's as good a defensive possession as you'll ever see, that possession right there. They did everything right on that possession. VCU hedged the ball screen, kept the ball aside, didn't run into each other after the hedge, moved their feet. It was terrific.
As good a defensive possession as you'll ever see.
You'll never see a better defensive possession than that one right there for 35 seconds. You'll see as good, but never better.
And then on the offensive end, Brandenburg gets to the rim but misses. Gibbons rebounds. Massonet crosses over Brandenburg, and then Reddick gives up the layup.
As bad a defensive possession as you'll ever see. Brandenburg allowed Massonet to go left. Nobody there to help.
Theus gets the bucket on the other end.
How good is Theus playing? Has he been great in this game on both ends, and on top of all of it, he's led his team.
10 points for Darius Theus.
I think the ball has to go into Gibbons, but look at the defense by Burgess on Gibbons, fronting him with his hips and his rear end.
Theus now 10 points, 3 assists, 3 steals, and another steal for Burgess and VCU. Daniels 3. The Ram crowd in Richmond has seen VCU wreak havoc on Drexel in the first half. The Dragons' 19-game winning streak in jeopardy in the championship game of the Colonial Athletic Association. 1.5. Drexel's got one more crack at it.
It's the first mistake Theus has made this entire game. Massonet got after him that time. First time Massonet's been able to keep Theus in front of him. Theus with a spin and a travel. First mistake for Theus. First time Massonet's really gotten down in the stands, gotten serious against Theus. That's an adjustment in the second half. Bruiser Flint has to get all over Massonet and tell him to contain the basketball because he has not done a good job in the first half.
Regular season, Drexel handled the VCU havoc, but Shaka Smart's guys have turned it up in the championship here in Richmond. 35-19 at the break. Now we send you on to the studio. Carl and Jay.
Focus on our game now and VCU's defense. Drexel's the team that gives up fewest points in that conference in the regular season, 55. They've already given up 35 in this game. These are two 27-win teams. Drexel looks like they're going to lose tonight. Make a case for them getting in.
Well, I think actually Drexel will belong in the tournament regardless of whether win or lose tonight. And think about this in the past. Last year, this was a multiple bid league in the CAA. ODU won the conference tournament, automatic bid. VCU was actually the 4th seed in that tournament, got an at-large bid, and so did George Mason last year as well. So this year's team for Drexel, how could you not reward a team, okay, that has the second longest winning streak in the country at 19 games? They won their past 25 out of 26 games, and, oh yeah, by the way, Ravi, they won the CAA conference regular season title outright. I think it's time that the NCAA, when you look at the whole body of work, you have to reward a team that's been so dominant and shown so much excellence throughout the course of the regular season.
This is what the next week's going to be all about, these types of discussions. You heard Dan Dockich say that relative to the bottom of the Big Ten that's being considered, both of these teams are better. One of the fly in the old ointment for Drexel is going to be their strength of schedule this year. It's not on this map. It's 225, and the last team to get an at-large bid with a strength of schedule over 200, GW in 2006. The Dragons have no RPI top 50 wins. Their best win was against this VCU team, which tonight is basically doubling them up. But again, those debates for the rest of this week. Story out of Syracuse tonight, and it is not good for the basketball. Coast Conference Championship coming up. Rob G.
VCU's Darius Theus has led the havoc attack with 3 assists, 3 steals, 10 points. For Drexel, Damian Lee, the league's freshman of the year, has 5 turnovers. It is VCU by 16. Second half coming up next.
You're watching Champion.
It is VCU 35, Drexel 19 in the championship game of the Colonial Athletic Association. We get ready to start the second half. Carter Blackburn with Dan Dockich, and it is Drexel down big time here at the half. But, Dan, a team who's won 19 straight, do they have a run in them in the second half?
Have to. They're 25-1 over the last 26. This is not a team that understands how to lose, accepts losing, so there will be a run. Now, the run has to start with handling the basketball. I mean, they have given up the basketball 12 times in the first half. Now, I understand havoc, and that's what VCU does. Great. That's wonderful. Okay, you know that going in, so don't play into it. Understand when you drive, somebody's going to come to block the shot, so stay down. Then you got to get on the glass. You got to stay on the glass, but this right here, transition, defense, offense, both of the things, Drexel has to get straight. Now, look, 25-1, they know how to win. They've been down before. But against VCU, you better handle the ball.
Already more steals by VCU, turnovers by Drexel in one half than the Dragons had in their win over VCU January 8. Now that win on January 8 was win number 2 of what is now 19 straight. Only Kentucky has a longer winning streak than the Drexel Dragons do. And the NCAA at-large bubble picture shows you through all the numbers that VCU has a much better chance of getting into the dance if they don't win tonight than Drexel does. Dragons don't want to leave anything in the hands of the selection committee.
Bruiser Flint worked for John Calipari and had Calipari on had Bruiser on a speakerphone yesterday to his team in the Florida locker room, saying, "Hey, how many you got in a row?" 19, Bruiser said on a speakerphone. And Calipari and the team laughed, said, "Oh, we got you." You know, 22, whatever it is for Kentucky. So it was kind of funny. Bruiser loved that story, and Calipari. wants his team to be proud of the streak they have and understand, hey, when you lose, somebody else is there to take your place.
In fact, Bruiser Flint says the last time he climbed the ladder and cut down nets, that's a 10-second violation.
Damian Lee is really struggling. Number 14, he got shook in the first half when he made a turnover. Next possession, he had a layup. All of a sudden, Haley was there to block the shot, shook him up a little bit, and he hasn't really recovered.
Finishing off the thought on 96, Bruiser Flint, last time he cut down the nets was 96 when they went to the Final Four with UMass. Bruiser Flint was an assistant and took over as head coach at UMass. Calipari went to Memphis, now to Kentucky.
I got to tell you, if I'm an AD, I hire Shaka Smart, Brad Stevens first and foremost, but Bruiser Flint would be on my list too. He's done a great job at Drexel. Sometimes you do something at UMass, you get another chance, you learn from your mistakes, and I think Bruiser Flint has absolutely learned and can coach at the highest of levels here in college basketball.
And remember, both of these teams have one senior. So 27 wins for Drexel with one senior on the roster. 27 for VCU, one senior. 10 to shoot for the Dragons. Finch gets away from Daniels for three, and a big bucket for Chris Finch to get Drexel started in the second half.
And that's what Bruiser likes to do with Drexel. They run offense, but they have great action late clock. That time, it was Fouch coming across the top off of a double screen. Daniels got hooked up. Next thing you know, wide open shot, late clock.
Chris Fouch knocks down the three. Just the second made three of the game for Drexel. 10 to shoot. Four to shoot. Theus hands it off to Reddick. With 1 second on the shot clock, Javonte Reddick hits the lone two.
Reddick hit the shot, didn't even react, went right and got into the press, and Theus is playing a great game. Right there, he knocks it off the foot of Massa. Theus has been so good in this game on both ends of the floor. He has been dominant. Watch Theus here, just gets his hands involved and knocks it off the foot. And that's what VCU does. They get their hand in the passing lane, the proper hand in the passing lane. They get their hands involved in the dribble. On hands off, they stick their hand in between both offensive players. They're just so well schooled in how to be aggressive defensively with both their hands and their feet.
John Thompson's here tonight calling the game on radio. Visited with him briefly before the game. He said the mental wear of what VCU does to you similar to what the Nolan Richardson Arkansas teams did.
Without question, and VCU knows it. Well, they know they're just going to hang in here and figure it out. We'll give him that was a pass. Look at the defense. Look at that. Look at Theus denying Lee. He did that the previous possession, Carter. He did that to Massanet and didn't allow him to get the basketball.
And now it's on Damian Lee, and the frustration really setting in for Damian Lee, the freshman and Colonial Athletic Association Rookie of the Year.
Watch right here. Watch as we come down the court. Watch right here. Watch the defense. Going to be right now on top. Proper arm extended. Just does not allow Lee to get the basketball. The previous possession, Theus did that to Massanet and frustrated him. They got a bucket, Drexel did at the end of the clock, but it clearly frustrated Massanet. Now he just did it to Lee.
That is the 6th turnover of the game by Damian Lee.
Yeah, I said first half, I really think he got frustrated. He got shook a little bit.
And now Theus off the shot fake creates for Brandenburg. Left it short. Givens has the rebound.
This is the guy that I think has to go, Givens. I think Givens has to decide that he's playing a little bit tired. There's no tired in a championship game. You go do what you do, and you don't get tired, you get angry.
Givens hasn't scored in this game. He averages 12 points a game, over 1,000 career points, 1,000 career rebounds. Timeout granted to Drexel. Massanet gets the timeout called at midcourt. And Shaka Smart onto the floor to help his Rams back to their feet. The weary Dragons down by 15.
Life on the bubble
is heart-wrenching,
Nerve-wracking.
Incredibly painful.
It can break your heart.
Every day, Joey Brackets has you in or out.
I guarantee you coaches don't sleep.
If you lose early in your tournament,
you're sitting there with fingers, toes, legs, everything you got crossed.
That's what the fear of the bubble can do to a great season.
I don't think Digger was specifically talking about Drexel and VCU, but he might as well have been, because both great seasons. And according to Joe Lunardi, VCU not in as an at-large if they don't win this one. And Drexel's not even really in this discussion right now if they don't win tonight and get the automatic bid.
Yeah, well, that's fine for the computer. That's great.
But Dan, again, you said
take that computer. VCU is an NCAA tournament team. Whether they win this game, lose this game, I don't care what some computer says.
What about the VCR?
The VCR.
Wow, look at that shot from Chris Fouch. Late in the clock, Chris Fouch buries the three. A pair of threes in the second half for Chris Fouch has put Drexel back within striking distance. Can the Dragons come back now on VCU to make it 20 straight wins and an automatic trip to the NCAA tournament?
There is no doubt Drexel's going to make a run. You don't win 25 out of 26 and not be able to handle a tough start, a tough half, tough situation, tough opponent. They'll make a run.
Theus has an answer. Darius Theus has been tremendous for VCU in tonight's championship game.
He has, both hands. Look at him here. Look at him active on the ball, and everybody sees what he is doing. When you're behind the point guard that's that active and that energized, everybody else has to play to that level because you're looking right at him. And if you don't play at that level, then you're letting the rest of your team down. Theus sets the tone, and he's done it this entire ballgame.
St. John's beating UConn, snapping the 99-game home winning streak by UConn. That game on ESPNU, getting you set for the Big East Women's Championship, presented by American Eagles Outfitters. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. The 9 Eastern Horizon League Championship, Detroit and Valpo. And a sold-out Richmond Coliseum in the capital of the Commonwealth. Carter Blackburn with Dan Dockich, where VCU has a 15-point edge on the Drexel Dragons, who won the regular season. 19 straight wins, the nation's second longest winning streak, and the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament in jeopardy in the last 15 minutes. Massanet, with the shot clock winding down, makes it a 13-point game.
That's what we're talking about. You have to play through the possession against Drexel. They will run stuff, and then into the clock, they'll go into something else. That time, Theus jumped to the right hand of Massanet. Graham was supposed to take the left hand. Graham didn't cover for Theus.
Massanet fouls Theus on the way to the hoop. Well, Damian Lee, the freshman who's the Colonial Rookie of the Year, has really struggled tonight.
Yeah, I think the turnover's right there. That turnover, and then he had a layup where all of a sudden Haley was there. I thought those two things kind of shook, and then you see the frustration after Theus really got after him and put him in denial. He's a great-looking player, freshman of the year in the CAA. But right now, VCU's getting after him and is getting to him.
I'll tell you what else VCU's done tonight. Hit their free throws. 9 for 10 now from the line. They were less than 50% when they went to Philly and lost to Drexel.
Yeah, that's a sign of focus. You know, and that's what VCU has been this entire game. They've come out with a purpose, and that carries over to you doing things that maybe you did not do the previous game or two. Is there any doubt he was going to miss that after such a nice soliloquy on focus and free throws?
He hasn't done many things wrong tonight, speaking of Darius Theus. So, Dan, how does Drexel come back in the last 14-20?
They just play their game. You know, every time they've hung on to the ball, gone late clock, they've scored. Last two possessions here, they have a good match there.
Massanet can hit the three late in the clock, and immediately Weber runs the Rams.
You know, we can talk about havoc and all that kind of stuff, but this is a fundamentally well-coached team, VCU. What a great block out by Burgess last possession.
Massanet, here's Damian Lee hitting the three, and Drexel has to hold. That gets the freshman rolling.
That's huge. That is huge, because now Damian Lee is back into the ball game. And a really nice play by Massanet, forcing defense to help, finding Lee. Lee showed he is a talented kid, and I do believe he will play well and settle down from this point on.
First transition points of the night for Drexel. He is pull-up. McCoy bothers the shot.
I'll get it to him again.
Here he is. Lee misses this time in transition.
Now this is where VCU has a fundamental question. They're up 11. They've been playing fast, but now you got to slow it down a little bit. And Shaka Smart talked about that after the George Mason game. The fine line between attack and be smart when things aren't going your way.
Burgess turns it over. Here's Lee with the steal. Damian Lee. Last 5 Drexel points have come from the freshman Damian Lee, trying to lead the Dragons back. 12:58 to go for the NCAA tournament on the line. VCU, a Final Four team from a year ago, trying to make it back to the NCAA tournament with a win in the Colonial Athletic Association Championship. VCU led by as many as 16. It's got it to 9 now. Closest this game's been since it was 24-15. And Damian Lee seeing a shot at redemption. No pun intended.
Now if you're VCU, Burgess has to be involved here. He's their guy. He's their leader. He's their tough guy. He's the all-league guy. He has to be involved somehow with either a shot, a drive, late clock action, whatever it is.
So keep an eye on this man, number 20, Bradford Burgess, the only senior on the VCU roster. Takes McCoy off the dribble, right to the rim.
Yeah, he has to. You've got to go to him when things are getting a little bit scary for you. That's why you have an All-American or an All-League player. They got to do things like that.
Fouch almost lost the handle. Now Drexel has to back it out. Foul whistled against Weber, trying to deny Lee.
Yeah, Weber was right there, though. Lee scored 5 straight, and they just were not going to make it easy for him again. That is a sign of a well-coached basketball team. You do not see that very often, the aggressiveness with which VCU attacks a guy who has scored.
Fouch off the dribble. Chris Fouch gets a friendly spin. Back to a 9-point game.
There's your guy, Fouch, who a couple years ago was player of the year. Stars have to play now. 12 minutes to go, Stars have to play. Ball has to go back to Burgess at some point in this possession once again. They've got to get it to him.
4 across the baseline for VCU. Brandenburg in the lane. Misses the floater, attacking the rebound, and the stick back from DJ Haley. Foul on Daniels as Fouch was trying to get loose. 11:28 to go in Richmond. The 19-game winning streak on the line for the Drexel Dragons. Can Bruiser Flint's bunch come back in the last 11:28 in Richmond?
Of all.
Last year, Virginia Commonwealth made the NCAA tournament as an at-large 11 seed and made it all the way to the Final Four. The Drexel Dragons haven't been to the NCAA tournament since 1996, when Malik Rose led a 27-win school record Drexel team to the NCAA tournament. This year's Dragon team, 27 wins. That equals the school record. Championship week rolls on here. Colonial Athletic Association Championship, downtown Richmond. Carter Blackburn, Dan Dockich, as Drexel tries to come back. Trailed by as many as 16.
Well, for Drexel, you're going to see a steady diet at number 45 and number 3. Fouch and Gibbons, and putting them on the same side. Fouch should have got the ball into Gibbons right there.
Here is Sammy Gibbons, the senior from Philly. Picks up his dribble and now needs some help. Massenet comes to get it. Franz Massenet finds Gibbons, who loses it out of bounds. Turnover by Gibbons.
When you get unorganized against VCU, you turn it over. Like, you have to be able to run your set, stay in your set, keep it going, and then reset. That's been Drexel's secret against VCU over the years, or at least certainly this year. But when you get unorganized, just put your head down and drive it on the baseline, you're done. It's over. It's going to be a turnover.
16 turnovers now for Drexel. McCoy fouls on the head, John Brandenburg. Third on McCoy. 3 team fouls each.
A little bit of a rest for Burgess. The ball has to be in his hands. Don't be surprised if it's not. I call it the Bonzi Wells, mid-post. Not necessarily on the block, but playing out of a mid-post where he can pass, get fouled, get to the rim with a little bit of space. Watch for that from Burgess on the stretch here.
Burgess, number 20, guarded by the freshman Damian Lee right now. Instead, a deep three from Daniels won't go. There's Givens for the board.
Yeah, not because I said the ball should go to Burgess, but that was too quick of a shot. They were running pretty good offense, they being VCU. And Daniels just went outside of it right there.
Damian Lee spins it in. Damian Lee charging back in the second half. 8-point game.
Yeah, that wing jumper got him going in the second half. You can see the confidence in that kid.
Drexel's cut the lead in half with just over 10 minutes remaining in regulation.
The ball against Lee with Burgess has to go on the block here. It has to go to Burgess against Lee.
Graham covered up by Givens. 9 to shoot. Diaz resets. Diaz draws the foul with 3 seconds on the shot clock. On Massonet. His third.
With 3 fouls 10 minutes ago, basically 9:51. You don't take Massonet out. You know, he's got to be smart enough to understand the scouting report, get on guys' proper hands, not commit something with a reach.
Only 6 players have played in the game for Drexel. Derek Thomas, who's one of the Dragon starters, is suspended. There's Burgess attacking on Lee, but missing on the baseline. Fouch picks it up, and Fouch draws contact, play on. Diaz resets. Daniels pass picked off by Ruffin.
Yeah, you just cannot float a soft pass into a side post.
There's Damian Lee attacking the rim again. Dan, you said as soon as he hit that first 3 of the second half, you hoped, Drexel fans hoped it would turn his confidence around. Clearly it has.
Yeah, there's no question. Lee changed his personality. Drexel has really done a nice job. You cannot float an entry pass to a post man. That's nobody's fault but the passer. You have to pass fake it, and if you're going to throw it in the air, you have to snap it right at the guy's head so that it can go either way. You can't float. So even if the man catches it, he's going to be 3 feet off the block on a floated pass. And to Lee, his whole demeanor changed when he hit the wing jump shot. You could just see that he was now back into the game and ready to go. Earlier, he was shook by a couple bad plays. But he is a talented kid.
9 second-half points for the freshman from Baltimore, the Colonial Athletic Association Rookie of the Year. Played 38 minutes in each of the last 2.
And he's going to add Colonial Athletic Association Player of the Year to his resume by the time he's done.
A 6-point game. A 12-4 Drexel run to shave the lead down to 6. Much like George Mason did last night against VCU, Rams were able to close out that win in the semifinal. Lee comes out and fouls Burgess.
Look, we said it at halftime. You don't go 25-1 by quitting, particularly in a championship game or getting softer. You go 25-1 by getting tougher when things don't go your way. That's what Bruiser Flint teaches, and that's what Drexel does.
That run of 25-1 began on December 10th. The only loss at Georgia State on January 2nd. Since then, 19 straight wins for the Drexel Dragons. Graham drives Givens. And 1.
What a tough move by Graham. Watch this here. Givens is a big, strong kid. And for you old school guys, a little Adrian Dantley backing him down and going to the other shoulder. They call a foul on Givens, but what a move by Graham. Graham has a knack for getting free throws, and that's exactly what Drexel needed. VCU needed somebody to go make a play. I thought it'd be Burgess, but this case, Graham.
Finishing off the three-point play, Travion Graham, freshman from D.C. But then a reach-in foul.
That's what we were saying earlier, Carter. When you pick up full court and you press and you're as active as VCU is, you're going to foul every possession out of this set, out of this defensive set. Shaka Smart knows that and doesn't really care because he knows refs aren't going to continue to call it.
Massenet gets it across with about 3 seconds to spare.
That was a great play by Fouch. Instead of taking it down the sideline like they did in the first half and turning it over, he stopped, reversed it, got into offense. Great play that goes off. There's no stat for it. Just a statistic of being smart.
Massenet in the lane, throws it to the rim. Ruffin recovers and sticks it back to a 7-point game.
Ruffin and McCoy were just in there beasting Reddick and Graham. Couldn't even see those two behind the two big bodies.
Graham drives Ruffin, then falls down. Brandenburg, kick it back out, Theus. Lee on the wing. Ruffin picks up his dribble, 13 to shoot. Chris Fouch drives. Misses the floater. Graham spins it in off the feed from Theus. And now the pressure turned up on Massenet. Timeout granted to Drexel at 6:45.
That was the same play they called a foul on the previous possession. They are not going to continue to call fouls. They just don't. Referees just don't want to call foul after foul after foul. So it was a timeout instead of a foul.
Championship week continues tomorrow night. First 7 Eastern Women's Big East Championship presented by American Eagle Outfitters. It'll be UConn or St. John's taking on Notre Dame. That semifinal going on right now on ESPNU. The 9 Eastern Horizon League Championship. Detroit and Valpo Championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods tomorrow.
Valpo, the regular season champion of Horizon. Against Ray McCollum with his son, Ray Jr., really good player.
Now for tonight's Fresh Take, brought to you by Subway. The 11 seeds who have reached the Final Four. VCU did it last year, joining George Mason out of this conference. Villanova as an 8 seed, the lowest seeded team to win in '85 against Tom Thompson's Georgetown Hoyas.
Harold Jensen went nuts. They call it the perfect game. Villanova played against Georgetown in Rupp Arena.
And there is Coach Thompson calling the game on radio tonight. A takeaway by Darius Theus.
I think Brandenburg's getting itchy here. Brandenburg wants to take somebody to the basket, number 11 for VCU.
17 turnovers by Drexel. They had only 11 in the regular season matchup in Philadelphia when the Dragons beat the Rams. Burgess triple. That could have been an early dagger. Instead, another chance for Drexel. Kickball. 6 minutes left in Richmond. Which of these two coaches doesn't have to worry on Selection Sunday? 10-point lead for VCU on Drexel here with 6 minutes to go. Now let's share the passion with these fans. Brought to you by Frosted Flakes.
Tell you what, Mr. Theus, your son is playing a heck of a ball game.
Seven to shoot. Massanet swatted. 1 second. Lee has to heave it. Shot clock violation.
What a defensive play. They let Massanet go to his left, which he must be better than he looks going to his left, because everybody can see don't let him go to the left, and all of a sudden here comes the help. VCU does as good a job as anybody in the country coming to the basketball when a driver gets beat. You've seen it time after time after time for block shots. So I think Burgess has to take right here. I think get the ball back to him and just go.
Here's Burgess guarded by Ruffin. He goes. Kicks back to Weber, who bobbles it. Now Theus with 4 to shoot. Theus takes it right at Massanet. Follows his own miss.
That's what happens when you just play harder than everybody on the court and you're more attuned to the game. And Darius Theus has been both all game long.
Drexel had it to 5. The lead back to 11 now for VCU. Foul on Burgess against Lee.
Burgess just smacked Lee. And then he looked like, what did I do? You knocked the guy out of bounds. Watch Theus right here. When you're just playing hard and you're more attuned to the game, bounces like that come. And that's as much as you'll see Burgess react. I mean, excuse me, Theus react. He's been just tougher than tough. Great leader. Most valuable player, in my opinion, in this game. It's not even close.
That looked like a rebounding drill.
And Burgess threw Lee out of bounds, literally. He threw him in a cheerleader.
Lee. He is leading Drexel back. Damian Lee.
How about this kid? I mean, there is nothing out of Sammy Givens. 1,000-point score, 1,000-point rebound. He doesn't have a bucket. And this freshman, who got off to a tough start, has been terrific.
Had as many turnovers as points in the first half did Damian Lee. 13 second-half points now for the freshman from Baltimore, keeping Drexel within striking distance. Burgess, deep 3. He's not afraid to take it.
No, he'll take another one, but how about that play? How about that play by Burgess? He understood that Lee was out of control, and he got out of his way and let him get off balance.
And then McCoy fouled at the other end. 8-point VCU lead on Drexel. Can the Rams close it out in the last 3:53? Carl, here in Richmond, it is Virginia Commonwealth, 3:53 away from a return trip to the NCAA tournament. They were Final Four a year ago. Explain this play by Bradford Burgess as to why it's such a good play.
Well, watch Bradford Burgess right here. Most guys would foul, but Burgess understands that Lee's completely out of control, so he just lets Lee be completely out of control and throw it over the basket. That's a function of playing so much basketball, whether it's in your driveway, in the park, in the boys and girls, wherever it is. You just know, because you've played so much. You can read eyes, you can read body language. He just knew, got out of the way, and let Lee take care of itself.
That's a guy who's now won 106 basketball games at VCU, Bradford Burgess. That's more than Joey Rodriguez and Jamie Skeen in that group from last year, the Final Four group. Burgess, the only returning starter from the Final Four team of a year ago for the Rams. And the only senior on the roster. As Weber and Massanet get into a wrestling match. Foul on Weber.
That'd be a welterweight bout. Both guys are certainly not a heavyweight bout, those two.
Weber's got the reach, I guarantee. Tail of the tape.
And Weber, both are willing, I'm sure. Weber's the loudest guy on VCU's team, the most active guy. But that's really a bad foul. You have a team in VCU that at the best is going to take 10 more seconds off. Really, they were unorganized offensively, and you kind of, Weber bailed them out.
Both teams in the bonus, so Massanet hits the front end of the 1-and-1.
Now here's the question for Shaka Smart, and this is where this team has struggled a little bit and where Burgess' emergence has really helped. How much clock do you take? How much do you look to attack? My guess is they'll take clock, go with between 10 to 12 seconds left.
Down to 6 again with 3.5 to go. VCU led by as many as 16.
And Shaka Smart wants the ball in Brandenburg's hand. He kind of sees what we see. This is a pretty good matchup for VCU. Brandenburg against Fouch.
Brandenburg splits the double, and a blocking foul called as Gibbons was setting up for the charge.
Yeah, you could see that. Fouch really uncomfortable, and Brandenburg 2 possessions ago was really excited. He wanted to take somebody here. They spread it out, bring up a little ball screen, and this is another guy that's just played a ton of basketball. He splits the ball screen, jumps off to the side. Shaka Smart should be happy because he called that, got him into the right position, got Brandenburg into the right position.
Rob Brandenburg, who ironically nearly went to Butler.
Well, he played on a team that beat Jared Sullinger, J.D. Weatherspoon, and Trey Burke in the Ohio State tournament. I believe this is right. Beat him by 20 or 30.
But he misses the front end here. Correction, misses the chance of the three-point play. 8-point game. Lee, good shot fake. Brandenburg recovers to contest the shot anyway. And a foul now called on Burgess underneath the basket. That's number 4 on Bradford Burgess.
You can't play the defense better than VCU played it on that possession. You said it. Lee made a great shot fake, but the defense stayed with it.
So now Sammy Gibbons to the free throw line. A chance for his first point of the night. Guy who averages 12 a game.
Let's look underneath. The foul's going to be called on Brandenburg. There's a scrum going on. I'm sorry, Bradford Burgess. Scrum going on, and I guess that's a foul, but it really hasn't been called a foul in this game the entire game. They've let a lot of that go underneath. Big-time bailout, big-time break for Drexel.
Gibbons makes the first of his trip to the free throw line. First 2 points of the game for the guy who has over 1,000 career points, 1,000 career rebounds. 6-point game. Foul called as Brandenburg loses the handle.
Carter, the matchup isn't Fouch against Brandenburg. Here, the matchup is going to be Ruffin against Brandenburg because Shaka Smart is doing a very smart, no pun intended, move. He is taking whoever number 35 Ruffin is guarding and bringing him up to ball screen for Brandenburg. Brandenburg goes to that side, which puts Ruffin against Brandenburg, and it's a mismatch.
And now the front end of the 1-and-1, back-to-back misses at the free throw line for VCU, which was the problem when Drexel beat the Rams in Philadelphia back in January. From 16 down, Drexel has it to 6.
Yeah, you mentioned it, 9 for 20 is what VCU was in that first game.
2 minutes to go in Richmond. Lee has led the comeback for Drexel. How about Diaz slipping, but keeps it alive, and then in the backcourt, Burgess saves it. Burgess charges into the backcourt, avoids the midcourt line, and VCU gets the timeout.
There was a takedown, then there was kind of a chuck at half court. You're going to see here, no call, then a slip. Now watch right here, Lee and Burgess. Burgess makes a great play, as does Theus. You know, sometimes kids stay down for a second for whatever the reason. Theus made that play by when he hit the deck, got rid of it, and immediately got back up. He didn't watch the play. He got back up, saved the possession.
Tomorrow, championship week continues. Noon Eastern, ESPN2, Big East Men's Championship presented by American Eagle Outfitters gets underway with UConn and DePaul, the defending national champs, trying to remain in that NCAA tournament picture, taking on DePaul tomorrow, noon Eastern, ESPN2. Carter Blackburn, Dan Dockett from a sold-out Richmond Coliseum, 11,200 fans in VCU's hometown of Richmond. If Drexel can come from 16 down in this building against VCU to win, it would be a tremendous performance, especially considering they've only got 6 guys playing right now.
Drexel getting to this point is a tremendous performance from where they were. And I've said it, you know, this whole game, you and I both said it, these are 2 NCAA teams.
The eye test looking a whole lot better in the second half for the Dragons. Givens forces the miss by Graham, 8 to shoot as VCU inbounds.
I just think with 8 seconds, you've got Theus out of bounds. This ball has to go to Burgess. I keep saying the same thing. Probably going to be a double, bringing Graham over here, or bringing Daniels over here, but it has to go to Burgess.
Turnover off the inbound. Damian Lee misses at the rim. Fouch saves it. Givens fouled hard with 1:14 to go. A chance to make this a 1-possession game.
Well, they tried to get the ball to Burgess, and it was tipped around by Masson at first. Lee comes out of it. Now, one of the few times you see Daniels, he kind of stopped on the play. You can't see him, number 30. One of the few times you'll ever see a VCU kid stand and watch. Daniels just stood and watched. Drexel able to get the ball back, get fouled.
First free throw miss of the night for Drexel.
Well, you'll see in transition, what's number 30? Number 30 kind of stops on it and backs out of the play, where number 3 for Drexel, he stays with the play. Fouch.
Three-point game. 1:14 to go. Conference championship, NCAA automatic bid, and the second longest winning streak in the nation on the line. Drexel's won 19 straight. Theus off the screen. Burgess gives it up to Graham. 7 to shoot. Graham fouled by Givens. VCU has missed 4 of its last 5 free throws.
That's what Graham does. As good as anybody in the CAA at getting fouled. A bit of a herky-jerky move. But why Graham gets fouled is because he leads with his body. When he gets into a defender, he's trying to make the shot, make no mistake. But he leads with his shoulder, his hips, and gets fouled.
Misses the first. He had been perfect tonight for 62%. So 5 of the last 6 free throws missed by VCU.
That was nerves. That was straight nerves right there. He short-armed that. The minute he left his hand, he didn't want to release it. He aimed it, not shot it. Much better that time.
2-possession game. Timeout VCU. Off the made free throw, how difficult is it going to be for Drexel to get this ball in bounds?
Well, in the second half, Drexel's been much better handling the ball. And this kid right here, Damian Lee, found himself with that shot, really. And then he was able to, it's like once you make a 3 and get yourself going, the ball just kind of finds you. And you get really comfortable, and you see right there when he shot it and put his hands in his pockets, he knew it was in, and then he just played harder than VCU there for the layup. But here's the key for VCU. You know, you're talking about how hard it is to get in. Don't foul. Don't put the referees in a position, if you're VCU, where they have to make a call. Because I believe, they didn't call it the last 2 or 3 times, but I believe now, 45 seconds, if they get that ball in the corner and they put their hands on a Drexel player, it will be called a foul, and you'll bail VCU or Drexel out and give them a shot.
Colonial Championship, NCAA bid on the line. It would be Drexel's first NCAA tournament appearance since 1996. Championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. We'll send you on to the West Coast Conference when we're done.
guys smart. You see, they didn't go to the trap because every coach knows in this situation they're going to call a foul.
4-point game, meaning 2-possession game. Lee down the baseline. Misses at the rim. Follows his own miss. Can't get the follow to go. Play on. VCU ball. Massanet intercepts it, and then Reddick fouls with 21.6. Double bonus now. Massanet will have 2 free throws. A chance to make it a 2-point game.
Lee goes to the rim, and you see Graham coming over to help, and now the scrum. Really, right here, the game is over. But Theus clearly does not see the defender. All he saw was his own man, Reddick. The game is over if if Theus just hangs on to the ball with 22 seconds to go. Instead, now it's going to be a 2-point game if they make the free throws, and you're going to have to, if you're VCU, make free throws. You would not have had to make free throws had you just hung on to the ball there.
He didn't see the safety.
I don't think he did. I really don't. I think he looked ahead. So the most important thing when you throw a pass is not where your offensive player is. It's where the defender is, and throw it away from him. 2 shots for Massanet, who at one point this year made 34 straight free throws. He's an 82% foul shooter on the year. Three-point game. Two-point game. Well, now you have to get it in, number 1, handle a trap, number 2, and make free throws, number 3, which all are very difficult against Drexel. The third one has been difficult for VCU here of late, making the free throw. Shot clock turned off. Daniels trapped in the backcourt. Foul called against Drexel. Daniels to the line for 2. They were 1 second away from getting a travel. In this trap, if they did not foul, they got a little too close. Watch the left foot of Daniels. He was getting ready to travel. Now he was getting mugged. But had they not fouled, he would have traveled. 2 free throws coming from Troy Daniels, 83% foul shooter. 1 for 1 tonight. Both teams double bonus. And a chance to make it a 2-possession game again with 18.9. Four-point game. Now, if you're Drexel, Damian Lee has been able to drive the left side. You put him on the left side, get the ball to Massanet. Massanet goes hard to his left hand. Either gets fouled, forces help, or go to Lee. Trouble getting it in. Massanet able to corral. This is Massanet. Kick to Fouch. 3 goes down, and it's a 1-point game with 12.7. Shaka Smart is going crazy with Ron Brandenburg. Massanet was in the open floor, fine. But Brandenburg got too far off of Fouch. Now remember, Fouch is a kid that over the course of his career last year averaged 15 points a game. Watch here. Ball was inbounded. You see Lee on the left side, Fouch on the right side. Brandenburg just got too far away, and by the time he got back to Fouch and tried to contest the shot, all his hand was the sight of a gun, which organized the vision for Fouch, and they gave up 3 instead of a 2. Now you've got to go make 2 free throws. The automatic NCAA tournament bid from the Colonial on the line. Neither VCU or Drexel guaranteed a spot in the NCAA as an at-large, especially for Bruiser Flint's Dragons, who have won 19 straight.
VCU led this game by 16 in the second half. It's down to 1 with 12.7. Diaz fouled immediately. Now those 6 misses for VCU, 5 of those came in a run here in the closing minutes to help Drexel get back in it.
And give Drexel credit. I mean, they've maintained their points. Again, I don't sound like a broken record, but 25-1. I mean, over the last 26. Yeah, they're down at half and they hadn't played well, but too much coaching, too much toughness among their group, too much togetherness to go away in this game. And so you knew there was going to be a run, and you knew this game would come down to the end.
Coming up next, championship week continues. St. Mary's versus Gonzaga, the West Coast Conference Championship. Dave Fleming, Sean Farnham will have the call for you. Carter Blackburn with Dan Dockich here in Richmond. A 1-point VCU lead.
You know, another sign of a good coach is getting the ball inbound against full court pressure to the right guy. Daniels has been the right guy. Make or miss, he's the right guy to have at the line for VCU.
One way or another, Drexel's going to have a chance. Will it be a 2-point game or a 3-point game when they have the chance? That's the question. 1 timeout remaining for each coach.
Well, you're going to see the same thing here regardless out of Drexel. Massanet bringing it up, Fouch right side, Lee left side. Massanet taking it wherever he needs to take it and try to get to the rim, penetrate, kick.
3-point game with 11.9. Daniels has made 4 straight foul shots to put VCU back up by 3.
Now here's what you do. If you're Burgess, you are on top of number 14, and Brandenburg is on top, which he is, of Fouch.
Back to Massanet to tie it. Massanet off the back of the rim. And VCU is headed back to the NCAA tournament. While the Drexel Dragons will have to sweat out Selection Sunday. A 59-56 win for Virginia Commonwealth over Drexel, snapping the Dragons' 19-game winning streak and claiming the Colonial Athletic Association Championship 59-56. For Dan Dockich, our entire ESPN crew, I'm Carter Blackburn. Coming up next, the West Coast Conference Championship. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. The Rams celebrate and they'll cut down the nets again. 59-56 over Drexel.